Donald Trump is about to make the biggest strategic blunder of his presidency, and it's not what you think. Trump refused to roll out military force to acquire Greenland. Denmark, a NATO ally, is refusing to submit to American demands, and European leaders are panicking. And while this can fracture NATO and hurt Trump's military interests, there are even worse political consequences if Trump doesn't play his cards right. This isn't just about Greenland. It might trigger a political chain reaction across Europe that will reshape the continent for decades. So, what does Trump actually want? Greenland is a 1.7 million square kilometers piece of ice sitting between North America and Europe. And beneath the ice are trillions of dollars in rare earth minerals, the stuff you need for electronics and military equipment. Also, the Arctic ice is melting, and new vital shipping routes are opening up. And whoever controls Greenland controls access to the entire Arctic Ocean. Trump calls this a national security necessity, and strategically, he's not wrong. Russia's expanding its Arctic bases, and China is building icebreakers and has interests in the Arctic region as well. If America doesn't secure Greenland, they will lag behind in the race between these superpowers. But Denmark has made their position crystal clear. Greenland is not for sale. Greenland's had self-governance since 2009. Their premier, Jens Frederik Nielsen, immediately rejected Trump's proposal, claiming that they won't be the victims of American imperialism. Trump responded by offering anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 to every Greenlandic resident. That's 57,000 people, $5.7 billion total if he pays them the maximum sum that he's offering. He's also leveraging a 1951 U.S.-Denmark defense agreement to expand American military presence without actually buying the territory. And when asked if he'd use military force, Trump said that all options are on the table, although this is almost certainly a scare tactic and should not be taken as a serious threat. But this is still problematic, having in mind that both the United States and Denmark are NATO members. If Trump continues with his bombastic rhetoric, he might create a rift between the US and Europe, which will be a disaster for his American foreign policy. He's literally shooting himself in the foot here.
I'm an extremely stable genius. Okay.
So, what would actually happen if Trump keeps pushing? Experts have proposed three realistic scenarios. Scenario 1: diplomatic standoff with concessions. Trump continues to provide economic incentives. Denmark refuses to sell but negotiates expanded US military bases under existing agreements. Relations stay tense but functional. This is the best case scenario, and it still will damage trust between NATO members for years. Scenario 2: escalation without war. Greenland and Denmark reject everything. Trump responds with economic pressure, sanctions, reduced NATO commitments, pulling troops from European bases. Europe starts diversifying defense purchases away from American suppliers. Germany and France expand their domestic military industries. The Atlantic Alliance weakens, but doesn't collapse entirely. And Scenario 3: self-determination referendum. International pressure forces a vote in Greenland itself. They choose closer economic ties with America, but stop short of full annexation. Denmark loses influence, America gains presence, but nobody's satisfied. No matter what scenario plays out, one thing is for certain. This will damage relations between Washington and Brussels, and depending on how long the crisis continues and how severe its consequences are, it's very plausible that this will weaken relations between the two sides for the next couple of years. And it can be exploited by the political establishment of the European Union. Let me explain. Europe's conservative movements, Alternative for Germany, Geert Wilders' Party for Freedom in the Netherlands, Viktor Orban's government in Hungary, Giorgia Meloni's coalition in Italy. They've spent years building political momentum, and a lot of them have been ideologically aligned with Trump's America First nationalism. They share his skepticism of EU bureaucracy. They agree on controlled immigration. They want stronger national sovereignty, and are adamant on protecting Christian cultural values. This alignment made strategic sense when Trump represented resistance to globalism and a strong Western alliance. But if Trump's Greenland push gets framed as American aggression against a European ally, which is exactly what's happening right now, everything changes. These parties don't just lose a symbolic ally, they become politically vulnerable in a way they've never been before. Alternative for Germany already faces legal challenges about extremism. They're currently polling at 22 to 26%, competitive but not dominant. If German leftists can successfully paint AfD as aligned with an America that's threatening European sovereignty, that's a powerful narrative. Orban in Hungary has been one of Trump's strongest European supporters, but Hungary receives billions in EU funding. If Brussels decides Orban's pro-Trump stance conflicts with European unity on the Greenland issue, they have economic leverage they haven't fully used yet. Italy's Meloni has carefully balanced pro-American sentiment with Italian interests. A crisis where she has to choose between Trump and European solidarity puts her between a rock and a hard place. If they get marginalized as pro-Trump, when Trump is seen as destabilizing Europe, it's possible that those policies lose momentum at a critical moment. While this is all speculation for now, since we don't know how the situation will develop, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The European Parliament is already more left-leaning than national governments. If conservative parties lose ground in the next election cycles, that gap widens. Trump, by pushing so hard on Greenland, might accidentally strengthen the exact leftist political forces in Europe that he opposes in America. So, is Greenland worth all of this? Is the strategic value of Arctic access worth fracturing the Western alliance? Is it worth it for Trump to accidentally undermine his political allies in Europe? Trump sees this as America first, but it might end up being America alone. Sometimes the biggest strategic mistakes aren't the ones you make on purpose. They're the ones you make while you're focused on something else entirely.
Click here, click here, click here.